Thank you for watching or listening to this candidate forum. This is one of several hour-long conversations between candidates running for a seat on the KPFK local board. My name is Dorothy Keene, and I'm a volunteer with the League of Women Voters, Pasadena area. I will be your host and your moderator. KPFK is a listener-sponsored radio station, one of the 5 stations of the Pacifica network, the country's first and only independent national radio network. The views expressed during this program are those of the candidates, not of KPFK. All viable candidates have been invited to participate in these discussions, and for this forum, we have 3 candidates. All of the candidates receive guidelines and ground rules for the debate. The order of the candidates' answers to the debate questions was randomly generated. Time limits on responses will be strictly observed. The format we will follow is, after the candidates introduce themselves by name, we will address one question from a prepared list to each candidate, who will have 2 minutes to respond, and they will get a warning of 15 seconds before the 2 minutes is up. Any of the remaining candidates who wish to comment or follow up on the given answer, or agree or refute it, will be given 30 seconds to do so. If needed, the candidate who answered the question may have an additional 2 minutes to respond to the comments. At the end of the forum, the candidates will have a 1 minute to give a closing statement to make their case as to why you should vote for them. And now I would invite the candidates to introduce themselves.
My name is Ralph Hawkins, retired from the state of California, where I did 20 years of litigation support. What I would bring to the table is the experience to analyze budgets and estimates. I have a deep appreciation for the creative process and a broad understanding of the challenges and potentials of new technologies.
Thank you, Mr. Hawkins.
Hi, I'm Barbara Marbach. I've been on the local station board since 2016. My first year was volunteering as a parliamentarian. I wasn't officially on the board yet. And then went through the election, and I've served as chair of the governance committee and then vice chair of the local station board. Pacifica's mission is so important to me, and I actually didn't discover Pacifica till the mid-90s, and when I did, I went, wow, what a great station. So I really appreciate the arts, health, and wellness, the global village, the commentaries, current event commentaries. What I bring to this process is 25 years as a special education advocate for a state nonprofit agency that works with individuals with developmental disabilities, and I help represent them in the school process to get the appropriate placement and supports and services they need.
Thank you. Mr. Payne.
Yes, I am Robert Payne. I am a longtime listener to KPFK. I've listened to KPFK since the Central American Wars of the 1980s. I have written many novels. Those novels have been published. I've also worked as a professor, and I value the opinion of anyone who speaks to me. I now travel the world doing documentaries of indigenous peoples and environmental projects throughout the world. You may access my KPFK statement and my resume at videoadventures, all one word, .info. Videoadventures, info. Thank you for this opportunity to present my comments to the people.
Thank you very much, Mr. Payne. The first question, our candidates, by the way, are sitting in a random order, and so the questions are going to be given to each one, first of all with Mr. Hawkins. And Mr. Hawkins, I'm going to give you 2 minutes, and once you start answering, the clock will start. And after he is finished, The other two candidates will have 30 seconds to agree or to refute or to give any additional comments. So the first question has to do with programming. According to the Pacifica bylaws, one of the duties of the local station board is, quote, to work with station management to ensure that station policies and procedures for making programming decisions and for program evaluation are working in a fair, collaborative, and respectful manner to provide quality programming. Do you think that KPFK's policies and procedures for making programming decisions and for program evaluation are working in a fair, collaborative, and respectful manner? If your answer is yes, describe how that is happening, and if no, you might give some suggestions as to what policies or procedures you would propose should be implemented. Mr. Hawkins, and
Well,
the clock will start now.
That's a tough one. I'm not that familiar with the inner workings of the station management, but we have a program director, and I think the board really needs to rely on that individual for informing us of what difficulties they're having. We can always improve our programming, and we need to do more outreach to bring communities of color and other underrepresented peoples into the framework of the programming that we have. Since our recent financial difficulties, I think we're doing much better. I'm very happy with what's going on, and I'm sure if I'm elected to the board, we'll get a lot more insight on improvements that we can make to support the staff.
All right, thank you.
I would like to respond.
Good.
You know, we've had a great deal of difficulty in the past with appropriate programs and program evaluations. This is something that I particularly worked with on the board. We didn't have an evaluation process. There was no program evaluation criteria. There was no evaluation going on whatsoever for the individual programmers or the response that the public had to the shows. So as a board member, we passed motions that created those evaluation tools to get a sense of how our programmers were doing and who was popular.
Thank you. Mr. Payne, do you care to comment?
Yes. Recently, the management of the station changed. I have talked with the new individuals. They are networking with other public resources in the area. I have noticed many public service announcements from other organizations, and this is excellent. One critique is that I would very much like more local programming and more programming originating only in Los Angeles for output to the rest of the nation. KPFK leads the world in alternative media, and I listen every day.
Thank you. Thank you very much. And now you have an opportunity, Mr. Hawkins, to respond or give additional comments related to that question.
Yes, as it was pointed out, there have been new methods put in place for evaluating the programs, and there's Arbitron, but we can innovate in that area and get more selective feedback from the groups that are represented.
All right, thank you. And now we will move on to a second question, and it deals with fundraising. And this is for Ms. Marbach. I'm sorry, please excuse me, Marbach. Should one of the roles of the local station board be amplifying fundraising? If not, why not? And if so, what is your fundraising strategy or approach?
Okay, fundraising. I think the first thing for folks to understand is the local station board is in an advisory capacity. We can't give direct divs to the station in terms of you need to do this, you need to do that. We can pass motions that we suggest, and now that we have a general manager in there and a program director, they come to board meetings, they hear our information, and they're respectful and take that information. But we can't mandate as a board that you're going to do this and you're going to do that. The other thing I think that's important for folks to understand is we're part of the Pacifica network, which is a network of 5 stations. New York, Washington, D.C., Texas, Berkeley, and our area. Pacifica National Board finances are in dire straits. As people might be aware, we had an issue with the Empire State Building with exorbitant rent. We had bills in the hundreds of thousands, and we made great progress in terms of addressing that bill. A lot of that had nothing to do with our station, but because we're part of the Pacifica network, we were responsible for that. So that's another area that people need to understand. And even if we can do fundraising, we've had town halls. I personally co-chaired a town hall in 2007 to bring awareness to the community about KPFK. We also need to access our younger audience, and beef up our social media in terms of actually outreach and getting information from that population.
All right, thank you very much. Mr. Payne, would you like to comment?
Yes, I would. As Barbara said, we on the board cannot dictate. We can only listen and we can comment. However, we can also contribute because as someone who goes everywhere in the city of Los Angeles, I promote KPFK. I ask people, have you heard the program on KPFK? If we can originate more local programming, we can export this programming to the wider Pacifica audience. We are receiving donations from everywhere in the country, also from elsewhere in the world. This money is good.
All right, thank you. Mr. Hawkins.
I'd say fundraising is one of the more serious challenges that we face. As everyone knows, Pacifica occupies a unique niche that we don't take any corporate funding, unlike most of the public stations all across the country. We need to develop off-air alternatives, things like the speaker series or other events that we could produce to get some of that fundraising time off the air. It's really expanded over the years, and it's killing our programmers. So I think that the staff would be very interested in any ideas that the board could come up with.
Okay, thank you. All right, and moving along, we have a...
Don't I have a...
Oh, please excuse me. Yes, go ahead. Yes.
So I would like to agree with Ralph. The other thing that I think is important for folks to understand is we've made significant progress with the National Board. We've got our audits done. We had lost funding from Community Broadcast Association because the audits weren't done. The audits were done, and we're ready to access that Community Broadcast funding grant again. And I agree with Ralph in terms of doing more in-person outreach, having speaker series, charging a little bit, $20, $25, and maybe setting up some meetup groups where we can have a speaker come or discuss local opportunities in different parts of the community. We have such a broad signal outreach. We really need to access all of our community and our signal outreach.
And may I add to that?
Yes.
Okay, both Ralph and Barbara have excellent ideas. A speakers bureau is excellent. When Chris Hedges was here in Los Angeles, KPFK sponsored him at a local church. The church made money, Hedges made money, and KPFK gained funding. We do need that because that can be directed outward to the nation and the world. Excellent ideas.
Thank you. Now we're ready to
Now
move
we're
to it.
ready.
The next question has to do with underrepresented communities, and this is going to be directed to Mr. Payne. How will you reach out to underrepresented communities as a member of the local station board? And how do you plan to work to see that KPFK airways better reflect our underrepresented communities?
First, it is impossible to represent every community in Los Angeles. Impossible. There are 140 languages spoken in Los Angeles. The two dominant languages are English and Spanish. When I lived in San Diego County, the local public station divided its time between English in the daytime and excellent Spanish programming at night. I do not know if this would be realistic in Los Angeles with KPFK, but I have enjoyed several of the Spanish language programs that I have listened to. Some of those programs have been Spanish only, others have been parallel, that is, English and Spanish. With local programming, we would be going out into the community, and every community would receive some radio time. Also, for example, I have 3 studio cameras. I have editing equipment. I have audio editing equipment. I have all that's required to run around in the field like ABC News and do as they do. Why don't we do that for KPFK and have a parallel KPFK TV station? Why don't we have a YouTube, a Facebook, a Instagram? There are many ways to expose the issues of Los Angeles to not only the people of Los Angeles, but the world. Because realize, Los Angeles is one of the leading international cities of this world, and we must go out to the world to receive the recognition we deserve. Really, it is impossible to present everyone's story, but we can try. Thank you.
Mr. Hawkins, do you have a 30-second reply?
Yes, I concur with those comments, and I think that moving into some video productions is an excellent long-term idea. I don't know how we would move towards that, but it's certainly worthy of study. In order to improve coverage of the issues concerning communities of color, we do have to get out there in the field. KPFK has a fantastic coverage area, and I come from the Riverside County, San Bernardino County area, and I'm sure there are lots of nice stories out there that would support a broader local news component to our broadcasting. So I'd really like to see us expand our news department and get some local reporting. One community in particular that's underserved is the Asian community, and I know we have a lot of Filipinos and others that are possibly interested in getting some programming, and we should pursue that.
Thank you. Ms. Marbach.
Yes, I think we can move on, and that right now, and that we're making progress on just in the past year, is our social media. We now have a Facebook page. We now have Instagram. Our website was a little weak before. It's been revamped. It could use a little more improvement, and I think to really target using social media to access a whole new audience. We do have a new board member that came on just last year that is willing to set up a subcommittee, and I volunteered to help her with that.
May I add a few
Yes,
seconds?
please, yes.
I travel all over the world doing video documentaries. Why not travel through Los Angeles and do the same? Los Angeles has many film schools, cinema schools, I should say. We work in video. I have been a professor in these universities. I have been a student in these schools. The people are available to work. Really, YouTube, Facebook, all the others, they're free. Put your product together, put it out there. After that, it's free to the world. Free to us too. Thank you.
All right. Thank you very much. So we have heard an answer from each of our three candidates relative to a particular question. And now we are open to getting a closing statement from each, and you will get 1 minute in which to give the closing statement. And that statement will be used for your video that will be shared with everyone to see what you're about as they choose to elect you. So let us start then with Mr. Hawkins.
Once again, my name is Ralph Hawkins. I'm retired from the state of California, where I did litigation support. I served as a general manager at nonprofit stations KUCI and KSDT in the University of California. My main responsibilities there were lobbying for funding and grooming leaders to run the various departments. I am a graduate of the film video program at UCSD, where I studied extensively in performance, recording, and the studio arts. I bring to the board ability to analyze budgets and estimates and a deep appreciation for the creative process. And I'm especially interested in exploiting new technologies. Please consider a vote for myself and other candidates on the committee to strengthen KPFK. Thank you.
Thank you. And Ms. Marbach.
Okay, my name is Barbara Marbach, and I've been a member of KPFK for over 20 years. It's where I go for my news, information regarding current events, economics, music, arts, health, wellness, diverse community and cultural perspectives. I'm committed to Pacifica's mission to provide outlets for creative skills and to promote and aid creative activities which serve the cultural welfare of the community. Engage in activities that shall contribute to lasting understanding between nations and between individuals of all nations, races, creeds, and colors, and to gather and disseminate information on the causes of conflict between any and all such groups without corporate funding or sponsorship. We really need KPFK now. I'm very grateful that KPFK provides this commons to the precious community resource to be valued and protected. My experience on the local station as the local station board vice chair and chair of the governance committee since 2016 has provided the opportunity to connect with other KPFK listener members, facilitate meetings according to Robert's rules, and institute a decorum policy for members of the public input and to ensure all are respected and heard, which had made our meetings go much easier, and we've got a lot done since I've been vice chair.
Thank you very much. And finally, Mr. Payne.
KPFK is vital to the people of Los Angeles. KPFK is vital to the people of the United States. In this time of fiction, fraud, and bombast, we present an intelligent alternative. The truth must be spoken. I am an academic. I am a worker. I have attended many universities, colleges. I have worked at universities and colleges. I have traveled the world writing books and making movies. KPFK is now my university. KPFK is vital to me as an individual. I hope that KPFK is vital to the people of Los Angeles. I will listen first. I will consider any good idea that comes forward that strengthens KPFK. I will help pursue. The committee to strengthen KPFK needs your vote. My name is Robert Payne. I need your vote. Thank you.
Well, I thank each of the panelists, and we hope that the audience has enjoyed the conversation. Please visit the KPFK website to watch or listen to the remainder of the candidate conversations that will be available to you. The views expressed during this program are those of the candidates and not of KPFK. Ballots will be sent to all KPFK members on August the 15th and need to be returned by October the 15th. Please visit elections.pacifica.org for more information on the KPFK election. And with that, good afternoon.